My director says we're live, Ben.
What does he know?
Yeah. All right. Hey, everybody. It's another Wednesday night. Welcome to Beers with Ben. The mystery brick wall tells us that we are in the super secret location.
We're in the comfy, cozy location.
Yep.
Yes.
Corporate headquarters, perhaps. I don't know what to call it.
I just got good chairs.
Good chair. Yep. Well, it's been an interesting couple weeks down at the brew hall, just with the change in being able to be open and so forth. And so let's talk about some beers that we can get at the brew hall in just a minute here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm watching myself and Ben on the iPad in front of us to check out the comments and questions you might have. So every so often I'm going to tap on the iPad and see if you've got anything to say, and we'll do our best to answer those questions.
Absolutely.
Before we start talking about beer, just a quick reminder, of course, that you can check out to see what's on tap with us at shakopeebrewhall.com, and it's also a fantastic place to register your online orders. Yes, we're back open for indoor seating here at the brew hall, but if you're either not available or comfortable being out in the public domain, you can still most certainly get off-sale beer in the form of crowlers and growlers from the brew hall. So we encourage that. Stop on down and or fill out the form on our website, shakopeebrewhall.com. We'll make that happen. Well, just a quick overview. We've got a couple beers we're going to talk about. They're here in front of us. We've got a couple upcoming releases. We've got some really unique and fun infusions to talk about.
Always.
And, the bits and pieces that we have to cover.
Yeah.
So let's get started with, I think, the fact that we've got this Dortmunder in front of us.
Ooh.
And I know that on our social media, it hasn't been, it's said a lot about it. There isn't a lot out there about it. So, first of all, the Dortmunder's been on tap for about a week, I believe. And it's a fine beer. And I would probably guess that a lot of people haven't heard of this style. So let's describe it based on a more popular and commonly known style. What should we start with here?
So it kind of fits within the same realm, or even between Munich Helles and a Pilsner, both of which we have made in the past. Munich Helles we make all the time. For those of you who that's not ringing a bell, Loki's daughter is a Munich Helles. Light in body, a little bit softer water, German hops, a little bit of, I use a little bit of Cara Hell malt in it. Hella in German just means pale, so it's just a Munich pale beer. But it has that Munich characteristic, and so while it is a light characteristic, it's a little bit more bready. It's not quite as a clean fermentation, like, say, the Pilsner, which is kind of on a different end of those pale lagers, where the Pilsner is soft water still, but quite a bit more hoppy. Very traditionally a hop with by the name of Zatz, and it has very kind of a herbal, grassy characteristic to it. Instantly recognizable for people that like that style of beer. The Dortmunder is a German style of beer. It comes from a little town called Dortmund.
As one would expect.
Easy enough. It is kind of a West German mining town, historically, and much like other mining areas around Europe, miners would come out, they were thirsty, they were caked in whatever the soil that they were working on, and they wanted to get something to drink, and it's something that is easily producible, with the ingredients from the region that were easy to get their hands on, produce this particular beer. So this is a beer that historically was never less than 5%. So a little bit higher, actually, than say like the Pilsner or the Helles in terms of ABV. But it is quite clear, as you can see. About the same shade as say like the Helles, maybe a little bit darker. It is a full-bodied, well-rounded mouthfeel, and it's not quite as hoppy as a Pilsner, but it is certainly kind of in that realm. And so, if you like the Pilsner, but maybe none of the hop characteristic is maybe a little bit too much for you, I would say come try this this Dortmunder, a little bit more well-rounded. Again, it is very much in a Munich style of influence, and so a little bit more rounded, bread crust, a little bit fuller bodied, but super yummy, super easy to drink, and especially if you like German lagers, please come and try this one.
It's a little bit bigger bodied beer than a Pilsner or even the Helles. It's a little bit more going on, but you mentioned how clear it is. We don't filter our beer.
We don't filter, isn't that cool?
But this is coming out crystal clear.
Yes.
It's really awesome. So that's our Dortmunder. We just delivered a keg next door to Turtles, or will be soon. So when our line opens up over there, you'll be available next door. You can always catch it there, and of course here. Speaking of Turtles, it's my chance to talk about our downtown partners. We're always super happy to work with the folks downtown, whether it be Turtles, Pablo's, O'Brien's, Bravis, good neighbors downtown. Even though things are open back up, we encourage you to still continue to shop local, eat local, drink local, shop local, all of those things. Come down to First Ave, Lewis, Holmes, check out all your favorite locally owned and operated establishments down here in Shakopee. Check us out also at your local liquor store if you're not Shakopee local. You can find us in lots of different places around the metro. Go to our website, shakopeebrewhall.com. If you click on the tab that indicates where to find our beer, there is a built-in map. You just type in your zip code, and you can find out the nearest stores to you. We're always expanding our liquor store presence a little bit, but if you have a favorite liquor store and you know that our beer is not there, ask them about it and ask us, and we'll make the connection happen and see what we can do. That's always a great opportunity to make new partners.
Yes, and keep asking them.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple people come in just this week who have found our beer in a size that wasn't maybe what they were looking for. Maybe it was in a crowler and they'd prefer to see like a 4-pack of 16 ounces. Let them know that as well. And that's an easy fix for us to do.
There's quite a variety in the can sizes and things like that of craft beers, whether it be 12, 16 ounce, or the crowler sized. And different stores carry different sizes. Kind of have a preference. And so if you have a preference as a consumer, it's also important to let them know what you'd prefer to see in their store, and they'll certainly listen for sure. Speaking of German-style beers, our Pilsner, the cross-check, ended up being pretty good success for people. So you just brewed another batch.
I brewed another one.
Yeah.
Why not?
So
absolutely.
It's still on tap here at the Brew Hall, and about the time what we have will run out. There might be a little bit of a gap, but depends how fast people drink it, I suppose. But
and this, being a lager, we want to allow it to kind of settle out and age and, clarify, just like this guy. So there may be a little bit of a gap in between it running off and coming back on, but, we're talking days, a week, not months by means. So
right. So Crosscheck is coming back. We have, fun to say, an oatmeal stout that is about ready to go here. We've been taking some samples. When we say it's about ready to go, we've been drinking it, folks. It's just not quite on the tap line yet. We're going to let it settle out a little bit, give it a little time in the bright tank to condition, but then we'll look for it on Friday. We're just making room in the tap lines for it. One of the great happy accidents of having a shutdown happen was that we have a wild collection of kegs in the cooler right now.
There's a lot of beer back there.
There's a lot of beer.
Yeah.
So we're kind of pushing things through, get the very last of the German chocolate for a while.
Yeah.
Because that's winding down. So come and get that. And that leads me to the rando keg that we have that we're going to hook up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do that tomorrow. I can say that we're going to have this on deck for tomorrow. We put out there bombers of a Chardonnay barrel-aged Gose. Our Gose is Duck Duck. And we've sold quite a few bombers of that, but we're actually now in a place where we can put it on tap.
A little
So
bit.
that's going to happen tomorrow. So that's what we have.
There's
in our hands.
about 1 keg of it left, and so
Yep.
come down while you still can.
Yep. There's if you're familiar with our infusion runs, you know how limited the supply that can be, and so this barrel aged is going to be about that amount, maybe a bit more, because we're not going to have it in crowlers or anything like that. We have some bombers left ready for off sale. Yep, that's the one. Here it is. We've got a few of these left, probably about a dozen or so.
Okay.
And here it is in the glass. And
Yeah.
I know that I've had this before because I put it in the bottles. And so I did some quality assurance testing, which
You weren't sampling, it was just QA.
Just QA,
yes.
yep. And so, all right, when we make our gozes here, we pile fruit in it.
We do.
And does this have fruit in it?
It's got a lot of fruit in it.
Tell us about it.
So yeah, when we make our gozes, we will kettle sour to make kind of that souring characteristic that we're all expecting in a goza. We'll let it ferment out, not 100% of the way. We still want active yeast, but then eventually we will put in the fruit. And in this particular case, there's about 270 pounds of fruit in this guy, and so this is a blend of both pineapple and mango. I feel like we might have mentioned it once or twice, a recording or two back, but this is a pineapple mango that I had to make just to put it. I have this great barrel downstairs. I had to use it, and it was a Chardonnay barrel. It had all these really fun pineapple mango characteristics, and so oh man, it had to be made just so that we could use that barrel.
A match made in heaven, as it were. Yes.
And so yes, this got made about last summer, and a little bit of it went into some wine barrels, and this is the result. And so much more well-rounded than what we're used to with a Gose. The Gose, there's that really sharp sourness to it. This is much more well-rounded from that barrel characteristic that the char from the barrel, or I'm sorry, not the char from the barrel, but just the barrel itself, just the oak from the barrel, added a little bit of a roundness to it. There's a little bit of sweetness from the barrel, from the oak. And then the fruit obviously mellowed out quite a bit as well. And so get a little bit of a vanilla characteristic on the nose, not really on the palate too much. But that pineapple really pops.
It really has a lot of pineapple going
Yeah.
on. And so I wouldn't call it a sweet or a fruity beer. I mean,
No.
it's very pineapple-y, but if you like semi-sweeter or dry white wines,
Yes.
you get a little bit of that going on, and it's balanced out by the actual pineapple in the beer.
Yes.
I think this beer is a treat. I think this is unique and hard to come by, probably. I don't think you'd find it anywhere else, frankly.
I haven't seen anything quite like this before. I'm not going to go on a limb and say that we're the only ones who have ever come across this combination, but it certainly isn't something that you see in the liquor store that often. So
Yeah, it's unique. It's
take
really
advantage
unique.
of it.
Yeah, come on in. That's going to be available tomorrow. I'm going to hook the keg up tomorrow morning, and it'll be ready for you on a tap line down here at the brew hall. Thanks for some comments and questions, Todd. Always good to see you in person and online. Mark wants to. Mark, it's
He's
a trade.
yelling at me for not
Mark
wearing
asked a
his
question that I'm not
best
going to
statement.
repeat on the air here, but I'm not really sure how to answer it except to say it's a trade secret, or wouldn't you like to know? One of those two answers. You can go with it from there. Yeah, and you blaming it on Luke, but I really don't think it's Luke. I think it's you, Mark. Angie chimes in and says the German chocolate is great. I couldn't agree more. Also a fantastic treat. We're down to a 6th barrel. That's it.
That's
so
it.
A few pours, really, and so come and get it. Gosh, tons to talk about. Let's go on. Let's talk about the next Gose. Do we have any thoughts? We haven't talked about this.
We really haven't. I mean, we're kind of getting close to having to make a decision. Probably the next, not even a week. Probably the next day or two, we need to kind of make a decision on the direction we want to go with it. The current one that we have on is a blackcurrant and blueberry. If you haven't tried that one,
So two colors, black and blue. The beer is red. So just
it is very red. It was very dark red.
Very dark. It's
yes.
a really cool looking beer.
Yes.
I guess maybe I'll offer this out to our viewing audience. We have a Duck Gose on the calendar to be brewed. We're just not sure what it's going to be yet. If you have some ideas, pop it in the chat. Just remember that we're doing this with fruits. It's going to be a sour. So think artistically, beer artistically. I don't know. I'm just making up words.
I like it.
Yeah. To maybe suggest some fruits you'd like to see in our next Duck. Keep in mind we're limited by what's available to us in large amounts of fruit. A couple of weeks ago we got a request for lingonberry. I love that idea.
I love that idea too.
I don't know where the heck we're gonna find lingonberries.
You tell me where I can find 300 pounds of lingonberry.
I mean, if somebody wants to give me an all expenses paid trip to Norway to pick these things, I'll do it. But
I would take you a long time.
Yeah, we'll consult our
by hand.
bookkeeper. Yeah.
We'll see him in a month and a half.
Yeah, right. So, raspberry was just suggested out there as an idea.
Yep.
So, yep. Also, I don't know if we've done that. Have we done a raspberry gose?
There has been raspberry in a Gose. I don't think it was a standalone flavor by any means. But
so,
yeah,
something we can do. Great. The other thing that's coming out later this week, we're aiming at Friday, is a brand new recipe for us. A repeat style, but a new recipe of an oatmeal stout.
Yes.
And that's sitting there. That's a great beer. Tell us what maybe is different about this one. Quaking in my boots was the other one.
I'm my own worst critic. That's the problem. The Quaking in my boots was an oatmeal stout, and I liked the beer a lot, but I also felt like it was a little bit. The word I keep using is harsh, and that's a bad connotation to it. But the dark malt in that particular recipe, I felt expressed itself a little bit too much, and so it was a little bit too coffee-like. Maybe I always expect like a sweetness out of an oatmeal stout. It was also a bit too coffee-like, and so this was back at the drawing board, so to speak. Really liking the idea of the sweetness and the mouthfeel of an oatmeal stout, wanting to try it again, but instead of using as much dark malt, found a few different ways to kind of create that color without going over the top with like roasted barley and black malt and then kind of traditional stout darkening grains. And so the result is this new oatmeal stout. We don't officially have a name for it yet.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
We'll get back to you on that.
Oatmeal stout always works.
It's a stout and it's got oatmeal in it, so I mean, yeah.
But very creamy. This is gonna be like a excellent nitro beer.
Right now we have Magic Feather on
Yep.
nitro, and I just lifted up the keg this evening before we came up here, and there's a little bit left in there, so we'll let our favorite Magic Feather friends finish that off. But we're gonna throw the oatmeal stout in there, and
Yep.
I truly am excited for this nitro beer. I'm always on a mission to have something awesome in there, and this is going to be great. Even without it being on nitro, with the CO2, it's got a great mouthfeel.
Yes.
And so, couple that, it's going to be like a milkshake. I think it's going to feel like that in your mouth. It's going to be super awesome.
Yeah, and keep in mind, with an oatmeal stout, oatmeal's right there in the name of it. But we're using flaked oatmeal, so just like rolled oats that you would have for breakfast. That kind of oat, as opposed to like grain, right off the stalk. And what that does more than anything is it adds this mouthfeel, kind of a silkiness is what a lot of people consider it, as opposed to just adding all this protein and haze and everything to the beer. It's a clear black beer, to be honest with you. I guess it's opaque because it's black and hard to see through, but it's not like hazy, like this guy. It's used to accentuate the mouthfeel more than anything else. And so, if you're thinking oatmeal stout, is it kind of in that same realm as like the Oaty McOatface IPA that we have? All this, like just tons and tons of oat that makes up the base of the beer? No. There certainly is oat in it, but it's not that same mouthfeel. It's not that same look.
So some fun stuff we've got coming up. We're going to switch over to talking about infusions. We just had a little sample downstairs of an infusion that's not even canned yet, to be honest with you.
Maybe
but
the most ambitious one that we've
there's
tried
a lot
so far.
going on. So this requires a little bit of a history lesson. We had a Belgian quad as one of our anniversary beers.
We did.
A couple years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. We saved some of that back.
Yes.
And did a barrel aging. And what type of barrel? If you'll remind me. I don't remember.
It was in a cognac barrel.
Cognac barrel aged Belgian quad.
Yes.
Well, we still had a little bit of left, and so putting our fingers together thoughtfully.
Yes.
What are we going to do with that? And well, here's what we're going to do with it. Well, here's what we've done with it.
This is what we've done.
It's done. It's an old-fashioned style. So the drink, old-fashioned.
Like the cocktail. Yeah.
The cocktail. It's an old-fashioned. So there's cherry juice. There's
cherry
bitters.
juice in it. There's the elements of bitters in it, and then some orange.
Awesome.
Really to kind of get that.
And then when you think about that this barrel-aged quad is sitting at 11.1%, we basically have a beery cocktail in a glass.
Well, I mean, you had it earlier.
Yeah.
It was not exactly subtle.
It's not subtle. That is not the word I would use. Is subtle. So it's great stuff. So
It's going to be served in one of these guys.
We're going to put it in a 10-ounce glass because it's sitting at 11%. So don't. You need to find your way home.
It's a cocktail.
Yeah. So we don't want to kick your butt too much, but look for that on Saturday. We're going to throw that in cans and do a little work with it, and we'll have that available.
Yep.
I'm promising on live Facebook that we're going to serve it with some cherries on a sword, because why not?
Why not? I mean, that's your baby.
Yeah. I'm the one who has to deal with it, so there it is. You don't give a crap. All right. So we have some Loki lime that we're finishing out. Come get some crawlers of that. I know there's plenty in the cooler. I want you to get that. Looking ahead into the future, doing a little forecasting, beer forecasting. We have a pineapple fine whatever in the next week. Our friends at Bravis have supply of pineapples, so we're gonna use pineapple guts, I guess is the way to
we've
describe
done this before. We did this
it.
about a month ago, 6 weeks ago. Flew off the shelf, and now it'll be on tap as well. So
yeah, some pineapple fine, and then look ahead into February for another barrel-aged release. We have some more Duck Duck, but this time it was the key lime Duck Duck. If you remember that, that was rather acidic, right? But why not do something with it fun? And so we put it in a tequila barrel.
Yes.
And so that key lime Gose in a tequila, make a margarita, right?
Yes.
So we're going to have that available on or around Valentine's Day / Singles Awareness Day, if it matters. Not nice. Anyway, so those are the crazy infusions that we're looking ahead to. There was a comment in here that says, we miss fuzzy logic. Yeah, that's kind of a summary thing around here. The Logic series.
The Logics have been kind of more spring, summer. It's actually conversations we started having again this last week, and so we kind of unfortunately fall into this. We have too many options here, unfortunately. Like, our Highway 101 is solid. It's a staple. It's always on. But those other IPAs that we have, if you've noticed, are kind of in a rotational set. And so right now we've been really hung up on like the Fine Whatever and the Odie McOat face.
Basically, sneak in stuff when we can.
Well, yeah. And so the Logic IPA really kind of fits into that rotation. It used to be Fine Whatever, then a Logic, then Fine Whatever, then a Logic. And when Odie came in, it's been so popular that we've kind of ran with it, but we haven't forgot about Logic. It's certainly something we want to bring back. It's just when do we want to get it into that rotation? So we started talking about it. As always, just like with the Duck Duck, it's a very fruit heavy beer, and so it's always fun to think about new variations on it. so
A suggestion for the next duck was peachy, some peach.
Okay.
So yeah, that's on the thinking list. So
that was actually the first one we did.
oh, did
The first logic was Fuzzy Logic,
Fuzzy
which
Logic.
was peach.
Awesome. So all great ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, check our website, shakabebrewhall.com, to see what we've got on tap at the moment. Couple big things to talk about. Cheesecake Funk is going to be coming back. We're going to do cheesecake again next Thursday, the 28th. Cheesecake Funk doesn't know that yet, but we're going to get some cheesecake.
Oh, they do.
They do. Ryan says we do. They do.
Yeah.
Sweet.
In the last 20 minutes.
It's
they
the
found
Yes,
out.
Vanessa's game.
All right. Sweet. It's going to happen, folks. So come down next Thursday. Holly will be working. Grab some cheesecake and a beer. And gosh, it's just fun. It's really good cheesecake, folks. It's amazing. That's 3 words. Amazing. So grab that next Thursday. A reminder that our hours are a little different coming out of the close down, the shutdown. We're open for off sale on Mondays and Tuesdays from 11 to 4. If you happen to be down here during that time and want a beer, we're not going to say no, but just know that we're not open on the evenings. We want you to bring your friends down here. We sometimes hear that, like, oh, there's a tap room in downtown Shakopee. Folks, we've been here for 3 years. More than 3 years.
More than 3 years.
More than 3 years. Help us spread the word. Bring your friends. It's a great community spot downtown. What's a great vibe. Spread the word. Bring your friends. Come down, have dinner, and enjoy some beers with us, with our fun team. It's just great fun to be down here. So check it out. My note says, bring your friends. So do that.
Yo.
Bring your friends. So it's a lot going on. Help us clean out our cooler. That's really what it comes down to. That's what's been on my mind. We have so many different beers down here right now. It's a fun problem to have. So we encourage you to come down to the Brew Hall. Check us out on Facebook, obviously. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter, shakabebrewhall.com. We'll be back in a couple of weeks, right?
We will be here.
There will be more to talk about.
There will be plenty to talk about.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening.